Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a dual review of the Gwolves HSK Plus and the Gwolves Hati M wireless. Both of these are new mice from Gwolves in 2022, which according to this reviewer's guide they sent me is going to usher in a new era of Gwolves mice. So this review is going to see if that is the case, and obviously just review the HSK Plus because this has been insanely heavily requested, so I guess I'll just get right into it. Hold on, let me adjust my mic. So yeah, the HSK Plus, they've finally done it. It's a wireless fingertip grip only mouse that has side buttons and a scroll wheel. With that being said, the HSK Plus does weigh in at only 41 grams, which is pretty impressive considering the first wired version was 37 grams and of course did not have any side buttons. But it's also worth considering that the final mouse Starlight 12 is only a few grams, like 2 to 3 grams heavier, and it will feel much lighter in hand in actual use because the HSK is such a short mouse, but it has the width of a normal mouse. So it does have a dense feeling when you're gripping. I'm not saying it's heavy, but you can feel the weight distribution is more dense than something that's still a small mouse, but just longer, like more distributed on the final mouse Starlight 12. So if you already have a Starlight 12 and you're happy with the experience for fingertip grip, the HSK Plus won't be an upgrade because the Starlight actually has a far better side button implementation as well. The HSK Plus, it's nice, like yes, it's a fingertip grip mouse and the idea of side buttons are there, but like the rest of the mouse, the side buttons are very scaled down in size. You can see that both of the HSK Plus side buttons are around the size of one Hati M wireless side button. So if you need to differentiate between the buttons while you're aiming, like in Fortnite or something, you definitely probably won't be able to use this mouse. Maybe if you're a dwarf and you have scaled down hands as well to make use of these side buttons, but I don't know, it kind of just feels like one side button. You see the way my thumb kind of just rests on it. I will give them credit though, this is definitely the most usable fingertip grip mouse for just like actually browsing the internet with the forward and back buttons. And if you play something where you only need them occasionally, I know a lot of people use side buttons for push to talk, yeah, it will be fine. The actual quality of the click on the side buttons is surprisingly good. I have no issues with pre or post travel. They're mini switches, so they're not going to be super tactile. But yeah, there's no quality issues with them, which is shocking considering how my main clicks are specifically the right click. Prepare to be horrified by this sound test. Compared to the left click. So yeah, clearly the right click, it's all sorts of messed up. There's this nice little like squeak, a little creak with the pre-travel, and then when I actually click the mouse in, I just feel a grinding feeling on the post-travel. Gwolves did, for whatever reason, decide to go back to Omron 20Ms in this mouse and the Hati M wireless. Honestly, I thought they were doing solid with the Kale 8.0s. I had no issues with the Kales on my Hati S wireless. But for whatever reason, they go back to Omrons, and now I have the, like, honestly, the worst click quality I've ever had on a Gwolves mouse. Which is saying something, since I have been a Gwolves customer since I bought the wired Hati M back in 2019. But the good news is that Gwolves has already said that they're going to be sourcing new switches or going back to Kale 8.0s for the next batch of 2,000 units. This batch is already sold out. It was only 100 units, which honestly feels more like a pre-production run. But for the mass production batch, you shouldn't expect the click quality that is on my unit, to say the least. But on the other hand, the left click experience was honestly good. It was light, it felt snappy, but I'm very worried that if I were to actually give this mouse a lot of use, that the quality would decay on it as well. Because that right click, it rubs me the wrong way. It did not feel like a $110 mouse. I wonder what the quality is like on the units out there that they sold with the Omron 20Ms. But yeah, in terms of like actual response and latency, I did not have any problem with the clicks, but you do have to go into their software and change the mouse to 1000 hertz polling rate. and also lower down the debounce time to 0 or whatever MS you use. I think that they have the lower polling rate on by default because this mouse battery is pretty small. It's 180 milliamp hours. I only know that because fellow reviewer Good Enough Tech actually opened the mouse up. According to the reviewer's guide, it's 250 milliamp hours, and the mouse is using Kale 8.0 switches. So that being wrong, that's interesting. Just straight up giving wrong info to reviewers, but it's Gwolves, so I give them a pass. I honestly don't mind Gwolves using a smaller battery to save weight, though. This is a more niche mouse by nature, so if you're going to have to charge it once every 5 days instead of once every 9 days, I don't think that's really going to rub people the wrong way. One thing that might is the fact that this mouse is using US or micro USB. I've never cared about that. You know, the mouse comes with the cable you charge it with. That's my mantra, but yeah, you can see both of the new Gwolves wireless mice are using micro USB, and it's whatever to me. But I bet in the future they will use USB-C due to public outcry. But yeah, now moving past all of that boring stuff, I will get to the build quality of the mouse quickly. The shell, there is definitely... Wow, it's honestly worse than I thought. You know, I never squeezed it before because I just put normal amounts of pressure where there's no issues, but I guess when I squeeze it, there is a good bit of side flexing and creaking, but honestly, like I said, nothing I was able to actually notice and use. That caught me off guard. I would say even with that, I'm not dissatisfied with the quality feeling of the shell, but it's really the right click quality which does the mouse in for me. But I guess moving past all of the quality stuff, I'll talk about the shape now. I feel like most people interested in the mouse already know what the HSK shape is going to be like, but they have actually refined it a bit. The mouse feels a lot less blocky. It's a bit longer, just rounded out and refined in general. I do notice the shape on the HSK Plus being improved. One thing is if you have a more relaxed fingertip grip on the original HSK, your fingers would actually catch this back hump, and it would make it really hard to vertically micro adjust when this part of your hand is still touching the mouse's hump. So on the HSK Plus, if you do a similar grip, as you can see, my fingers are not anywhere near the hump, and the mouse is stretched out a bit in general. This is definitely a better shape than before, and if you want to try a fingertip grip only mouse, this might be the one to go for as a mix of like actually having features and not being an obscene price. At $110, it definitely feels like a novelty like mouse for enthusiasts who play fingertip grip. It's hard to give this a widespread recommendation, obviously. But the shape, the weight, the fact that side buttons are there, it does feel like a good mouse in hand. It just does have those issues that held this batch back, but hopefully in the future they can improve based on feedback. Because I do think that there are unique advantages to fingertip mice. I don't want to say like optimal for aim because that sounds cringe, but it's very easy to control. Everybody says it's like you're holding a pencil. I don't see that. Maybe I fucking hold pencils different, but it just feels like you're holding a mouse that does not have a back, which obviously is going to help you on vertical movements if there's nothing in the back of the mouse to potentially get in the way. You're going to have like more range of motion. So if you fingertip and find that the back of the mouse gets in the way, like on the Hati S or the Viper Mini maybe, or maybe you just have a mouse that's way too big to be fingertipping, something like the HSK Plus shape could be a game changer for you. But I would say in general, the overall experience with a Starlight's just going to be better. With the Starlight, the side button implementation is going to be a lot better. The weight distribution, like I mentioned before, it just feels lighter when you're actually using the mouse, all things considered. The battery life is going to last much longer, and I don't know, I personally just like having a larger shape. I don't mind the back of the mouse, and I just don't feel like I benefit enough from something like the HSK Plus to make it worth using, considering some of the sacrifices a mouse like this is going to have. The grips it comes with are exceptional. They're like super textured and they just feel amazing. So definitely if you have the mouse, try it with grips and without grips. See which one you like the most. If you put all of the grip tape on, it just totally transforms the mouse's texture. It feels very sticky, grippy, and it makes the dimensions feel larger as well if the HSK feels too tiny without them. And the quality on the grips are exceptional. You can see they have the flat pressed edges, which is just aftermarket level quality. So the grips are low-key the best thing about this mouse. But to quickly cover the other features, the sensor 3370, the implementation really feels the same as all of my other Gwolves wireless mice. The stock feet are very good, and they just give you so many extras. 2 extra sets of these skates, and then an extra set of like PTFE dot skates. So the value is actually there. You are getting some solid extras for the $110 price point. The scroll wheel is very recessed on the mouse. You can see it's like almost flush with the mouse. It is a bit worse since I have the grip tape on, but that's something I noticed. They should definitely make it protrude like 1 or 2 millimeters more. And I think that covers about everything for the HSK Plus. I really just skimmed over the sensor because I have no problems with the LOD, like the polling rate. It's a well implemented 3370. But yeah, that's basically going to be all for my review of the HSK Plus. I really wanted to like this mouse, but honestly, I just kept discovering more issues, and it was not usable for my main game with the side buttons. I don't even know if they can work on the positioning, or if it's just kind of doomed to have a fingertip grip mouse that actually has like very functional side buttons. But all in all, if you're looking for a fingertip grip mouse, or if you are a dwarf, I hope that's not politically incorrect, you will probably be satisfied with the next batch of the HSK Plus, assuming they fix the click quality that I look at as a freak accident. But yeah, that's going to be all for the HSK Plus section part of this video. I totally forgot this was a dual review. The Gwolves Hati M. This one's going to be a lot quicker because this is really nothing new. It's just a wireless version of their original Hati shape, which is a clone of the G Pro wireless, now the G Pro Superlight. This is using Omron 20M switches as well. I don't have any horrifying quality with these. They do feel a bit hollow, but they're very light and responsive, so I don't have an issue with that. The scroll wheel, I have been a fan of the Gwolves scroll wheel. It's just so good. It has like these nice little bumps on it. It's an extremely tactile wheel. It's just very good. So the scroll wheel, I would say it feels like the same encoder as the Superlight, honestly. But I don't know, Gwolves one, it's got more grit. And the side buttons as well are also a lot sharper feeling and not mushy compared to the Superlight side buttons. So those are the only improvements. Everything else, this mouse has a full honeycomb shell and is still a few grams heavier than the Superlight. You can really feel that, especially given how well the Superlight is distributed. So I would say the Hati M at $100, it's a really hard sell over the Superlight. You're not going to be receiving a higher quality mouse. The shapes do vary slightly as well. The Hati M, it seems to flare out a bit more towards the bottom of the mouse and just get a bit wider. But really, it's clear what shape this takes inspiration from. I mean, I guess for $100, it's a solid option, but I just don't see why you wouldn't go all out and just get the Superlight, get that elite performance. Honestly, like better warranty, just it's overall a better experience, which is what I was trying to say before. Like the Starlight's probably going to be a better experience than the HSK Plus. So I personally think Gwolves still has some work to do. But they made a lot of steps in the right direction. Obviously, the HSK Plus, a wireless fingertip mouse with side buttons, it's the first of its kind. It makes sense that there are going to be some growing pains. But yeah, like I said, really wasn't too much of an in-depth Hati M review. I just found it to be pretty solid for claw grip. That was my preferred grip on it, but just not... Once again, not better than a Superlight, which is, I think, the only way to describe that mouse. The Hati M is ever so slightly bigger than the Superlight, so if that is what you're looking for, maybe that would be an excuse to go for it. But that's going to be all for this dual review. Let me know what you thought in the comments. It seems like, yeah, Gwolves made some steps in the right direction, then took some steps backwards. What a company, man. Very inspiring. But yeah, that's going to be all for this video. Like and sub if you enjoyed. Peace. Oh, wait, this mouse is not plugged in. Which one is? Okay, this.